Welcome to E3 2018. Gaming brings us together. Gaming connects us. So let's jump in.
Lights flash bright. Are you ready to play?
Games look and play best on Xbox One. These 5 new teams will have the resources to take bigger risks for you.
Xbox Game Pass, a way to give gamers the ultimate freedom to play. We leverage the machine learning at Microsoft to start your games twice as fast.
Are you ready to play? It's on. Are you ready to play? Are you ready to play? I do this every day. Bring it on.
In Microsoft Research are developing the future of gaming AI. Our cloud engineers are building a game streaming network to unlock console quality gaming on any device. You will always experience the best in gaming on Xbox. Thanks, and have a great Easter.
Now this is a studio worthy of our biggest show of the year. This is Inside Xbox at E3. Today, Inside Xbox is coming to you live from the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles, California, and we've got 2 hours of E3 coverage straight from the heart of the Xbox showcase. Yesterday, on this very stage, we showed 50 games, revealed 18 exclusives, announced 5 new Microsoft studios, and unveiled 15 world premieres. Wait, did I say 15? Because we're about to make it 16. We'll talk about what's coming up on today's show in a minute, but some things can't wait. Right now, we're going to debut the latest from Bohemia Interactive, the developers of DayZ. Here is the trailer for Vigor.
We're joined now by Lucas and Dana from Bohemia Interactive, the talent behind Arma and Daisy that helped put the online survival genre on the map. Thank you both.
Thank
for
you,
coming up here and
guys.
joining
It's so
us.
exciting to be
Welcome
here.
to our E3 Inside Xbox. This is a pretty cool setup,
Thank
right?
you. It is.
It is.
It's exciting.
Great, and thank you for bringing that amazing trailer as well. That is a world exclusive. It's never been seen before.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
come here
That's
just to
true.
debut that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, what did we just see? That was incredible. But tell us more about what
Yeah,
we just saw there in Vigor.
What you just saw is our newest project, and we're excited to show it to the world. The game is set in Norway because nuclear bomb hit Europe, so Central Europe is destroyed, and Scandinavia is the fault plan for the people, for the rest
Right.
of the guys, and players take place as a nameless outlander, trying to survive and going into encounters. So you have your shelter, which is your base of progression and persistence. That's what you can expect from the game. You will set up a loadout there and go into encounter, and then you just gather resources, gather materials to grow stronger and to be the best in the world.
Whoa. Okay.
So we've actually got gameplay
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
here right
yeah,
now. We
yeah.
saw the trailer, but we can actually take a look at it live in action. Why don't you both walk us through what we're seeing on screen?
Yeah. Now you can see a basic encounter that some of the players met each other, and the game is heavily based on uncertainty, which means that you don't know if there are any other people in the map. You know that you started with 12, for example.
Okay.
Yeah,
But you don't know if you
You never
killed-
know how many are left. So.
Yeah.
And is it 12 other players within the same area as
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm getting battle royale vibes, but I'm also getting real survival.
Not
vibes
really.
as
That's
well.
the thing.
Okay.
Because
Vigor is like genre on its own, because when you enter the encounter, you can leave it anytime you want.
Okay.
Like, there are exit points on the map, and if you just don't feel like it and you have your bag full of resources and materials and you don't want to risk it,
Okay.
you can leave.
So you're really looking to scavenge as much as
Yes.
possible.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
That's your main
get out of
objective. That's the thing you do.
So this is kind of
Because-
true post-apocalyptic survival.
Definitely.
In the
Yeah,
true sense,
definitely. Because this is what you would do if you were there. You would be
See.
trying to gather as much as it's possible and to survive, not to shoot people.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and as you can see here, this is the base of the shelter where you build improvements to shorten your crafting time for weapons and stuff like that. The other thing is that if you risk everything in the encounter, you will lose it. You
Right.
will lose everything. So that's why you need to gather resources and hoard the weapons. You need like thousands of them, so you don't care about it anymore. You don't care about dying, because at the beginning it will be really hard.
Now, I heard
Okay.
you mention crafting, and then I think I saw a pretty in-depth,
Yeah.
what looked like a progression tree of
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
How crucial is that going to be to survival in this game?
Well, it's one of the main things to keep you in the game, So imagine that you gather some resources, you will get your first improvement, then the first improvement will generate the materials for you, the materials you need for crafting. Then you need to get blueprints for the weapons, because
You don't know how to put together a weapon.
Right.
yeah, exactly. And the blueprint is actually really crucial thing. One thing is that you can get it from an airdrop, which is the big highest reward that you can find on the map. And the other thing is that you can deconstruct the weapons and get a blueprint. But every time you deconstruct the weapon, that doesn't mean you will get a different part. So you can get like 2 parts of the first thing of blueprint. So that goes way long time.
All right. I'm looking at these environments here. Tell us about why you chose Norway, and Norway's right at the top of Northern Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that kind of landscape and that geography mean for the game?
Yeah, it's kind of lot with the backstory that I want to reveal right now.
Okay.
So let me just say that imagine that the Central Europe is totally wasted and damaged.
Yeah.
And what would people do? They would go up or down.
Right.
And we chose north in Norway. So this is the safe space, but people are there and people are fighting over the resources though.
Got it.
So this is my answer for now. I don't want to reveal too much.
Well, the nuclear weapon certainly hasn't ruined the views in Norway, has it?
That's
No,
true.
no, no, no.
It
Amazing.
still look gorgeous. Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Tell us about multiplayer.
nature
and
is incredible.
Sorry, Dana, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay. You can
Tell us
continue.
about multiplayer and cooperative. I really want to understand like how you can play this on your own, or can you band together with other players? Is it PvP, PvE?
it's straight up PvP.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like every man for himself, but we have some plans for team play and stuff like that. But I don't want to talk about it right now.
Fine.
The thing is that you can actually win the game or the encounter without the weapon.
Yeah, this
Because-
is my favorite
Yeah.
part about the game because this is my strategy for pretty much the whole time
Right.
and bigger. Yeah.
Cool. So you can play. I'm guessing you can play quite aggressively.
Yeah,
Or you
can.
can-
Yeah,
I would be
point,
the
you can
opposite.
kind of-
I'm getting out. Get in, get out. Like, I feel like in this
Yeah.
sort of game, stealth might be my option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's the thing. Like, if I've got a whole backpack filled with things, I'm out. I'm not gonna get myself killed.
Right.
Yeah, because if you get yourself killed, you lose everything.
Right.
You will just get some materials, you know.
Now, when
And
you say
that's
you
it.
lose everything, do you lose everything that's on your person and everything back at your base is still?
No, no, no.
No.
Base is fine.
Okay.
Shelter
Yeah.
is fine.
Okay.
Definitely. But if you have your loadout full, like 2 main weapons, 2 secondary weapons, you will lose them, and you will lose everything that is in your bag. So that's why the hoarding thing. comes
Right.
in.
And I'm guessing like player progression plays into that as
Yes.
well, right? The
Yeah.
more
Yes.
you scavenge, the more you hoard, the more you level up your player. Is it that kind of angle?
No, you will level up the shelter.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Ah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes absolute
The more
sense.
stuff you get, the more you, the better you can be when you're out in this world trying to survive, right?
Yep. Definitely.
Great.
This
How
will be
about
great.
that?
I cannot wait to play.
Looks amazing, doesn't it?
It's a ton of fun. I'm telling you right now, I'm getting in and I'm getting out. I'm getting out.
That surprises me about you. I thought you would
hey,
be guns
look,
blazing.
Unless I had my, everything, my shelter is all taken care of and leveled up, and I've got the right blueprints in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be very careful.
That's
careful.
good approach.
Yeah.
actually.
I like it.
Well, thank you so much both for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was great to have you on the show.
Yeah, wonderful.
Now,
Thank you
if you're
so much.
watching
Thank you
us
so
on
much.
Mixer today, be sure to log in with your Microsoft account so you can score a couple of Mixpot goodies. That means free items for World of Tanks and Trove.
Nice. And believe it or not, we're going to up the number of world premieres from 16 to 17 later in the show with new gameplay from Outer Wilds. And that is just the beginning.
Let's send it on over to Jeff and Larry. It's time to set the table for the rest of the show. What's on the menu, fellas?
Today's show is packed. We've got so many great games and interviews lined up. Phil Spencer is on hand to shed some more light on the new talent joining Microsoft Studios. And Rod Ferguson, he's stopping by before his afternoon mantini to talk about not one, not two, 3 Gears games.
3 Gears games. We're also going to talk seasons
Yep.
in Forza Horizon 4 and start driving on the wrong side of the road. Thank you, Graham.
Or is it the right side? That's what you'd say.
Yeah, I don't know.
Plus, The Wasteland that's going online. We'll talk to Pete Hines from Bethesda's Fallout Bombshell.
Then we're going to go in depth on Battlefield 5's new Grand Operations multiplayer mode. Who wants to hitch up artillery up to the back of a Jeep?
I do.
No, I've seen you drive. You can be the artillery. I'll drive. Thank you.
It's going to be great. And later, we'll have the very first gameplay for Outer Wilds, the bespoke interstellar exploration game. Pretty excited about that.
Not as excited as I am. That's just a handful of the goodies we've got in store. But first, don't forget the biggest Xbox sale of the year going on right now.
This includes the very first discounts on Xbox One X, world's most powerful console. Massive game sales on the Microsoft Store, 10% off a wide variety of controllers, and much, much more. Head to Xbox.com for all the details.
All right, let's talk. More awesome. Here's 5. Let's go.
Something's happening to me. For months now, I've been having these dreams. Nightmares. But I think they were messages.
It's your grandmother's? There's a place up north. I think we can find you answers there.
Where are we going?
Back to where it all began.
Are we the hunters?
I need to know the truth.
Or are we the prey?
She'd never be our enemy by choice. I know that. what if it's not her choice? The necklace? That's a locust symbol.
I want it out of my head. I want it to stop.
Katie,
Mom!
cut me loose. Please.
This is a wild game of survival.
Yep, I love E3 because of all the games and all that, but I love it more because I get to spend time with Rod Ferguson from the Coalition. How are you, mate?
How are you?
Wonderful to see you, as always.
You too. Lovely shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, look at us.
I know.
We're like
Looks Wonder
twinsies.
Twins activate.
That's good.
But you got to be form of water. I want to be the animal one. You got to be the pail of water that gets pulled around all the time.
Very good. All right. Hey, congratulations on the show and on stage yesterday.
Thank
Amazing
you.
moment for Gears. Not one Gears game, but
No.
3.
Yeah, overachievers. We're Coalition are overachievers. We're like, anybody can do one announce. Let's do
Totally.
3 announces. So.
No, that was fantastic. Great moment on the stage back there. Let's start with the third game you announced, right? Gears 5.
Okay.
Talk to us about a little about the world of Gears 5, and I would love to know more about Kate. Is she actually the protagonist of Gears 5?
She is, yeah.
Okay.
Kate is the main protagonist for the game. And basically, it was just a natural. When you play through Gears 4, I think of it as sort of what you think of with Mad Max Fury Road. It was like really, it was Furiosa's story, but Mad Max, like Max was the sort of the sidekick in that story, even though it was called Mad Max. And it kind of felt that way when you look at Kate. The whole game is about saving Kate's mom, and really JD is there to help her. And so when we talked about doing the next game, it was really made sense that Kate should actually step in, and you should play as her as she continues this journey of discovery about, like, why do I have this connection to the locust, what's going on, and what's happening to me right now. And so we really wanted you to put the player sort of in the driver's seat.
We saw Kate traversing these amazing, like, frozen wastelands.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about the world that she's venturing out into and where she's maybe going a little bit.
Yeah, well, for us, it was all about having the biggest and most beautiful world we've ever made. And that the reason we did that in the trailer was really just to show an example of some of the variety. Like Gears games have always been sort of road movies in the sense you're always on a journey from A to B. And the same is pretty true for 5, but we want to show like the variety from a, jungle cenote to a frozen tundra to this sort of the red desert, like all these different locations and getting to visit some of the past too. Some fans have already picked up on a few sort of Easter eggs in our trailer about some places you might go. And
nice.
Really excited to take the fans there.
And what about this skiff, this like across the frozen lake? Is that something you'll be able to use freely through the game? Or?
Well, yeah, it's not like the way we used to have the tank in Gears 2 and that kind of stuff. It's not meant to be just like you're driving down a hallway essentially. Like the thing about the skiff is that trying to open up the world and give you more choice of what you can do. And so the nice thing with the skiff being a wind, wind is kind of our thing now with the wind flares and storms, and so we wanted to have a wind-powered vehicle that can go across different types of, and so you'll be able to take that skiff across the desert. You'll be able to take that skiff across the tundra, and so there's a lot of places you can go. It's great.
Excellent. Now I want to talk about the scene that we just saw on screen a minute ago that you showed on stage yesterday. This amazing emotional scene. Tell me about the way you approach motion capture and the way that you direct those scenes and the voice acting, everything, because it's next level stuff.
Well, thanks. Well, but it's new for us. Traditionally we've always separated the two. We've always put motion capture has been separate from voice acting. But this time we wanted to take it up a notch and we wanted to actually do performance capture. And so we found like 4 or 5 scenes that we felt were critical to the game to have that sort of next level. And that was one of them, where Kate reveals that she has a secret about the locust. And so what you're seeing now is this is Laura Bailey as cool. Kate. And so we just wanted to do a little bit of side by side about how that we get that kind of performance out of our actors. It allows you to kind of really feel like the dialogue and the body motion is so in sync, and you really get that emotion to come out of it. And that's Greg Mitchell, who's our Cinemax director, who's fantastic. But there's kind of things like when trying to do that kind of collision where 2 bodies come together, to animate that separately, or to, the fact that it worked in the moment where you've got both the voice performance and the motion performance together makes those things really, sing from and so I'm really excited. I mean, a lot of games have been doing, PCAP and a lot of movies and stuff, but it's brand new for us, and I think you can see the results in our trailer.
Absolutely, and I spotted you in the studio there as well.
Right?
You take quite a hands-on approach with this side of the development of the game, right?
Yeah, it's kind of one of my passions. I'm very involved in the story, so I'll edit all the scripts, and I'm working with, Tom Bissell's our writer, the New York Times bestselling writer. And so I work with him and edit the scripts, and then I'll go and direct the VO, like when we do them separately. And then on the mocap stage, like Greg is, he's really good at that. I don't want to get in it, but I work with him on that, and I make sure that the dialogue performance is what I'm looking for, or the way that they're saying the lines are what I want. But he's really good at like, hey, I'm blocking for this shot, or I want this kind of view, and that's not my world. I don't think in terms of like what's inside the frame.
Yeah.
I think about what am I hearing, and am I getting the emotion across? And so we work together that way.
All right, what are you hearing from the Gears fans from the reveal yesterday, and when can they expect to see some more?
So the first part of that, it's been amazing. Like Twitter blew up for me, and Reset Era, we went onto the thread there, and I was up till 3 this morning reading their 600 posts, and it's been fantastic. Like people are really supportive, and they understand what we're trying to do. With Gears 4, we were really about establishing ourselves as a studio, and like, okay, we only had 3 people who had ever made a Gears of War game before, so we're like, let's build a foundation, and let's prove that we can make a Gears game, and we did that with 4. And so now we're like, okay, what I call the commander's intent, like our vision statement or our mission statement for Gears 5 was challenge expectations. And so what can we do? And so we looked at it from a story perspective, at a gameplay mechanics perspective, from an art perspective, like how can we challenge? And so people are like, we're showing bits and pieces of it, and people are really getting that. They're saying like, oh, they're actually trying riskier things.
Great. And Gears Tactics was a big surprise yesterday as well, right? Tell us the direction there.
Yeah, it's been something that's been going on in the franchise, sort of bubbling underneath the surface for a long time. This idea, even when I was back at Epic, we had ideas around this idea of this sort of top-down isometric. Because what's really interesting when you see Gears Tactics, it's actually like a concentrated essence of Gears. Like the things you think like cover and tactics and squad dynamics, like it's actually more Gears than Gears in a way. You know what I mean? And so I'm so happy we're able to do that now. And that was one of the things, when as a creator, as a world builder, you go, what are the things that are stopping fans from getting into that world? And so you look at what are the barriers we can take away. And the obvious one is just platform. Like, okay, if everything is on console, then only certain people are going to get to play it, which is great. We love our console audience, we love our console game. But it's like, we want to broaden that. And how can we make it more approachable to more people? And so we go to mobile with Pop, and we go to PC with Tactics, and it's really just trying to be inclusive and trying to just make it, open it up to the rest of the world.
Yeah, Gears Pop was possibly the funnest moment of the briefing yesterday.
Right.
Where did that come from?
It really, the idea of like, hey, let's do a mobile game really came from the publishing team. They were really very passionate about, hey, we think this is something that's really cool. But one of the things we were talking about is like, what style should we use? Like, what's the art style? What kind of way? And as we were thinking about it, I'm looking down at my desk, and there's my Funko Pop of Kate on my desk, and I'm like, they've already established an art style for Gears that works really well. It feels authentic. And so that's a big thing for us, is that we didn't want to be, let's do a licensed match 3 game, or let's do this thing that just feels cheap. We wanted to create actual authentic, experiences, whether it's on mobile or PC or console. We want these things to feel like they belong on that platform. And so Gears Pop is very much a solid mobile game that you would play whether it had a Gears brand on it or not. Like, it's just a great game, and I love it. And we're working with great partners on those 2 games in terms of like, obviously Coalition can't build 3 games at the same time, so we're working with great dev partners. And I'm just really excited. Like, I'm already playing on my phone, and it's just fantastic.
Nice. Will you show me afterwards?
Oh, sure.
I can't wait to see it. Rod, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for coming, and congrats on the reveals yesterday.
Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Yesterday, legendary writer Chris Avallone was here to reveal Dying Light 2, where every decision you make changes the world around you in some unexpected ways. But one thing that didn't change, there's still plenty of parkour and first-person melee combat. Let's send it over to Ricari for more.
I'm here now with Timon from Techland. Timon, how is Dying Light 2 evolving the parkour system?
Well, so since Dying Light 2 is a bold sequel to the original game, we are expanding upon each element of the game, and that goes for the parkour itself. Our natural movement system got improvements in code and animation, but what is the most important is that we have doubled the number of parkour moves. So you can basically go everywhere in the city, and you will need to adapt to the environment because it's constantly changing. And that actually puts a lot of effort on your side, and you will have to be fluid about it, and you will have to zip through the city when you master the moves.
Double the amount of moves. That's
yes,
mighty impressive. Okay, so we saw and heard and felt that nasty thud with the wrench, right?
Yeah, it was powerful.
You guys aren't pulling any punches at all. What can you tell me about other combat changes or the combat system in Dying Light 2?
So again, combat system has changed as well, and we have added new layers of depth to it. And now you will have to combine your skills. You will have to use parkour attacks. You will see things in the environment you will be able to use to attack your enemies, and you will also be able to craft your weapons to be even more powerful. And you have have to constantly be looking at your opponents, looking what they do, looking at their behaviors and react to them. So it's way more tactical, way deeper than in the first game.
Well, I absolutely cannot wait to play. Timon, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is an Xbox game preview, and the game is constantly evolving with new maps, new updates, and all the dress shoes you can handle. Yesterday, after the Xbox briefing, Larry got to talk with Taesok, executive producer at PUBG Corp, about what's coming to the game, including that mysterious icy reveal.
I'm here with Taesok, who's the executive producer for PUBG Corp. Taesok, I want to talk to you about the brand new trailer that we debuted at the E3 briefing. Really exciting. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you about your role. Tell us about your role at PUBG Corp.
안녕하세요. 저는 PUBG.
Hello, I am Taesok Chang. I am the PED at PUBG Corp. I work closely with our entire team of developers across our offices in Seoul, Wisconsin, and Amsterdam. From the early stages of development of new content to live testing and final launch, I'm there at every step along the way.
We debuted a brand new trailer during the Xbox briefing that is coming soon to PC and Xbox One. Sanhok, tell us about what goes into designing a new map for PUBG.
So PUBG has very serious as well as realistic gunplay mechanisms, and we wanted to really leverage this on a new map. We wanted to give a new visual experience to our users through the Sanhok map, and also because it is a smaller map, we wanted the users to engage in more quick and intense gunfights and battles in this map.
We saw a sneak peek of a snow-covered map during the E3 briefing at the very end of the trailer. What can you tell us about that? Because snow could really change gameplay in PUBG.
우선 많은 걸 말씀드리긴.
Well, I don't want to give too much away too early, but I can say that when you think about a snow map, we want to bring some new gameplay experiences that you could probably associate with a snow-covered map.
Now, I have to ask, I'm a huge PUBG player. We saw a ballistic shield. Can you tell us, how is that going to work? Is that going to be your secondary weapon, or where does that fit in?
The ballistic shield is an item that can change the way you play the game in PUBG. And this could provide quick cover in close combat situations and also protect the player against explosives. And when you're collaborating with your team members, one of you can use the shield and the rest of the members can stack up behind the shield and then engage in battle that way.
The game is still in game preview on Xbox. I want to talk about what are the team's priorities right now. Bug fixes, adding new features. Tell me what's going on there.
So for us, pushing out new contents for our Xbox community is very important, but at the same time, we understand that having an optimized and stabilized build and fixing bugs is also very important. So we have separate teams in PUBG Corp who work on these two different aspects to improve the game overall.
Taesok, I just want to take a moment and thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Realize the tragedy you have unleashed?
I know that it's not practical. I know that it's hard to believe. You need to trust me.
The briefing, 10 out of 10. My gosh.
So I am just almost speechless about being here.
I feel like the Xbox team heard our cries. Games, games, games. That was the theme. And we got overloaded with them, and that was great.
It was mind-blowing.
I'm still like a little shaken up out of excitement.
I finally know what that hype is about, man. It was intense the entire time. The bass was just shaking everything. It was very exciting.
Xbox, #1 all the way.
Me and my buddy looked at each other like they did it.
You start off with Halo. When you start off with Halo, you have to end with a bang. And you end it with Cyberpunk, and it just sent the crowd into a frenzy.
Halo Infinity, Battletoads, that's insane, and Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Jump Force?
Like, that blew my mind. Like, what is it?
As soon as it came on the screen and they had Naruto on the top of that building, I was in complete shock.
Bringing a bunch of anime characters together, it looks like a really great fighter, so really looking forward to seeing how that game comes out.
We play Cuphead together, so it's like a true test of our relationship. So we're excited to test it again.
And I'm really excited for Kingdom Hearts, man. I've been waiting for that game for I don't know how many years. That game shaped my childhood, and I'm so excited.
Bar your crumpets and pour yourself a cup of tea, because that's right, Forza Horizon is coming to Britain, and I am so happy to see Edinburgh on the big screen at an Xbox briefing. Ralph, welcome to the stage, and welcome to Microsoft Game Studios as well.
Thanks, man, on both counts. That's really nice of you. Yeah, I thought you would be especially pleased with our reveal yesterday. I worked in Edinburgh for 3 years, so it's kind of like a thrill for me as well.
There you go.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 4 is coming to beautiful, historic Britain. And I'm so thrilled that people are delighted. You know, I've been getting that kind of reaction from lots of people. Not necessarily just Brits, but, you know, lots of people who are really excited about the location.
Absolutely. I mean, Twitter just lit up yesterday, right? Especially from the Brits. But then I even had people tweeting me saying, oh, I've never been to Britain, I've always wanted to go. And now they feel like they're going to get a nice
airfare saved.
Perfect. There you go. All right, we're going to talk about seasons in a little bit, because, you know, everyone's been talking about that. I want to talk about the shared world, right? Because you previewed some of that on stage yesterday, but this looks so interesting and so important for Forza Horizon going forward, right? So tell us how the shared world of Forza Horizon 4 works.
You're absolutely right. Huge change for this game. I think it's kind of our job to keep moving things forward and doing new things, innovating. Shared world is really a big shift, a big change for Horizon. It comes about because basically one of our pillars is community. We think our game is better played with others.
Absolutely.
And really, this is the game, I think, which will allow us to bring our massive, creative, fun-loving Horizon community together like we never have done before. So yeah, everyone plays in the same world. Everything is synchronized for all players. So weather, time of day, and seasons, of course, are synchronized for everyone. So you see a rainbow, everyone can see that rainbow. You see the sun go down, everyone can see the sun go down. And I think from shared experiences will come, you know, fantastic gameplay, connections, friendships, that kind of thing.
You could see in Forza Horizon 3 that you were starting to move in that direction. Is this really the culmination of that road you started on there?
And I think we could see it in our players in that game as well. We have a lot of telemetry. We can see how people play the game. We were surprised by how many people played the game. Over 9 million people have played it so far, which is just ludicrous. But also the kind of play sessions they had, the kind of activities they took. Online free roam was super popular in that game. People would go there, and I used to go in and just drive around and find a bunch of drifters in a car park, and you'd leave them and you'd go find some other people down the road. Obviously limited to 12 players in a session there, many more in a Forza Horizon 4 shared world, and therefore just so much more life, so much more excitement, so much spontaneity that I think will come out, and will just make this game really alive and enriching, for many months and years to come.
And the shared world, as we've come to expect from Forza Horizon, just looks incredible. I mean, look at this. I just want to ask about Britain itself. Obviously quite a diverse place.
It is.
Like, what is the reaches of the Britain that you'll be portraying in Horizon 4?
So we have done what we always do, which is to select a location based on its beauty, its diversity, great driving roads, and then cherry pick the very best, most interesting locations from that, from that overall sort of a location, and then chuck them together into a kind of a collage map that doesn't make a whole lot of geographical sense. We're not Ordnance Survey, we don't hold ourselves out as that sort of thing.
Right.
We're about fun, we're about great open worlds. It's exactly what we did with Australia, and some Australians pointed out some inaccuracies. It's what we've done with Britain, and I have no doubt that some Brits will point out some inaccuracies. But for me, the important thing is we've got the Scottish Highlands, we've got the Welsh Valleys, we've got the Yorkshire Moors, we've got the Lake District, we've got Edinburgh, as you know, Bamburgh Castle, the Cotswolds, just the best bits, those very bits of Britain, all stitched together into a map that's a ton of fun to play, a ton of fun to explore, and obviously is perfect for dynamic seasons, which is like just this quintessentially British thing. I know other countries have seasons, there are other climates available, but
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, we obviously both grew up in Britain, in Scotland, so we know all about seasons.
Right, we've had our fair share.
Yeah, I've seen all of them. And there's more than 4 in Aberdeen where I grew
in
up.
the same week.
Absolutely. Tell us how seasons affect Forza Horizon 4, though. Like, because this isn't just cosmetic, right? This is real gameplay changing stuff, yeah?
It absolutely is, yeah. So Britain is this really seasonal country, and this world works in all 4 different seasons. And I think for us at Playground, it's been something we've been driving towards, pardon the pun, for multiple games, right? We've tried to do it before. It's always turned out to be like just too hard, too much work. It's a really complicated thing to build a world the size of Forza Horizon 3's Australia 4 different ways. This time we found a way. It married perfectly with this location in Britain, which is very seasonal. And as you say, it's more than just.
Oh wow, what's happening?
How dynamic!
Oh, the seasons are coming to life right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of like yesterday, isn't it? But like with a much lower budget.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Larry, the weatherman. I saw him doing a game show yesterday, and now he's fulfilling his weatherman dreams. Okay.
That's all the weather I have.
Okay. So,
anywho,
but it's going to change. It's going to change the actual gameplay of the game, right? New events, new locations. You can access.
Absolutely. I mean, the one we showed yesterday, and the one that's just like the perfect example of what it means is like the lake freezes for 3 seasons of the year. It's a lot of water.
Right.
In winter, it freezes. It allows you access to an island. What do you know? There's a barn found in the island. Like, how did it get there? I'm sure there's a backstory. In summer, water levels generally just get lower. There might be a river that dries up. If you imagine there's a race that follows it in summer, it's a very different proposition from in spring or autumn when the rainfall means the water is much higher.
Right.
That's an example of the kind of gameplay differences that you'll get. What's even more exciting, I think, and we're just starting to talk about it this week, is that seasons are the perfect delivery mechanism for us to keep adding new stuff to the game.
Right.
So obviously no 2 seasons are alike, that kind of goes without saying. What we're also saying is that because of our commitment to support this game and evolve it post-launch, no 2 winters will be alike, no 2 springs will be alike. We're going to be able to bring new stuff, whether it's new features, new game modes, new experiences, constantly to the game, and that's kind of this team's commitment, not just to get this game to ship, and produce real quality when we launch in October, but also to continue changing it up and evolving it for months and years to come.
Great. And one thing that got a big reaction when you were presenting yesterday on stage was the mention of 60 frames per second.
I had a feeling it might.
Yeah, that must be an amazing thing for you to finally bring to the game, right?
It totally is. Like, we always talk about our most fan-requested features.
Yeah.
Certainly since we did the Xbox One X enhanced version of Forza Horizon 3 earlier this year, the most fan-requested feature I think I can say is a 60 frames per second option on Xbox One X. That's what we're delivering in this game, so you have the choice between performance and resolution, and ultimately Forza's all about choice. It's all about doing it your way, and we're delighted to give this option to our players.
Fantastic. Ralph, you know I love Forza Horizon. It's so amazing to see it coming to Britain, and particularly my home country of Scotland as well. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for joining us on stage.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, man.
All the best with it this week, mate.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, we've got Fallout 76, Battlefield 5 multiplayer, and the blazing fast combat of Devil May Cry 5. But first, it's time to take a closer look at one of the most interesting announcements during the Xbox briefing, and it wasn't actually a game, but technology that will allow you to play your games faster. Let's send over to Larry for more on Fast Start.
Downloading games is a major convenience, but waiting for them to install, not so much. Ashley Spiker's here to tell us how that is all going to change very soon. Ashley, great to see you.
Oh, great to be here. Thank you.
Now, you were out here on the stage just yesterday talking about Fast Start. Tell us about that new feature.
So Fast Start is a machine learning backed technology that we invented that optimizes your experience in getting into gameplay by optimizing the download order for the files that you need to start the beginning of the game.
Now, today on Xbox, we have this option where you're installing the game and it gets a little pop-up that says ready to play. This is not that. This is different. This is smarter, better, bigger.
All of those things, yes.
Okay.
This is not the same thing.
Right.
So the ready to start marker that exists in the user interface today is manually configured by developers at development time.
I see.
Fast Start is machine learned. So it happens automatically for games without any manual configuration step. And it gets better as the optimization algorithms get better.
Now, everybody loves Game Pass. This feature is not coming just to Game Pass games, right?
No, so we love it for Game Pass games because we want to make it as fast as possible for people to try all of the different games in the library. But it is a platform feature, which means that it's going to be available for most games on the platform over time.
And of course, the next question is, when do we get to see it?
So it will be in the June update coming later this month.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. Stick around because we're going to have more on Game Pass later in the show. This fall, Battlefield 5 brings the series back to World War II and tweaks the formula with the Grand Operations mode. And believe it or not, trailer hitches, those are the key to victory. Let's take a closer look at the multiplayer action, and after that, Benny will sit down with the developers to discuss this epic mode. Now, I had the pleasure of attending EA Play and doing battle in the new Grand Operations mode for Battlefield 5, and I'm thrilled to be joined now by Andreas and Lars, Mr. Battlefield himself, to talk through multiplayer. So first of all, Operations was in the last game. What's new in Grand Operations?
Absolutely. We really expanded on everything when it comes to Grand Operations. Like I said, it was a big success in Battlefield 1. Now it's bigger, it's better, it's across multiple maps, multiple modes, and you really get to relive some of those World War II power fantasies, like being a paratrooper, jumping out in the middle of the night, trying to kind of get a foothold for the oncoming invasion forces on the next day. So I love it.
Yeah, like it's one of the things. So, because I got to play at EA Play, Airborne, the new mode, it is one of the most exciting things in the world when you're in that plane at the start and you're like, when do I jump? What can players expect of Airborne?
I mean, that tension, standing up in the plane and getting ready, and you have the freedom to jump at any time. So basically you wait, should I jump and get kind of sneak up on the enemy, even though they will see you coming down, or do I go in behind enemy lines? So it's those choices, but it's really about going in there and taking out the defenses. Since the more defenses you take out, the easier it will be next day when the main invasion comes. So it's about that power fantasy, and on the defending side, it's about, I mean, we have destruction since a long time in Battlefield, but now we also have fortifications. As a defender, you can start building up not only sandbags, but extra machine guns, installations of stationary weapons to really make sure that you do your uttermost to stop them.
Yeah, so obviously with Grand Operations, it's over multiple days. How are players going to go about winning? What happens if it's a draw over the days and you each win one round? How's it going to work out?
So we're going to lead you on to day 3, which is essentially when you're going to get 2 giant armies that are kind of well supplied, well rested. They're going to go at each other. And if we can't determine a winner on day 3, we go into what we call final stand, which is really like a sudden death mode. You've been fighting for 4 days, you jumped out of a plane, you're low on ammunition, and you can see your objective. It is within your grasp, and you're going to do one last attempt to do it. But this time, no respawns, limited ammunition, and it literally will come down to last man standing.
Yeah, so like I'm really excited about that. It's going to be so tense at the end, but a lot of changes to multiplayer as well. I kind of like one of my favorite things was the new gun mechanics, because it allowed you to genuinely learn a weapon and improve with it. So what changes have been made?
It's an important part for us. I mean, Battlefield is all about the depth, but also the possibility of mastering weapons, vehicles, even the environment.
Yeah.
And for the weapons, we've done an overhaul and kind of made sure that the randomness of the weapons is kind of gone, and you can learn the recoil patterns. So for every weapon, there will be a recoil pattern to learn.
Yeah.
Control your burst fire, and the weapon will clearly tell you when you're kind of crossing the border.
Yeah.
So with this, we want to give you unique weapons that you can learn to identify. You can, of course, customize them, both gameplay-wise and visually, to express yourself. But in all, it's about getting that plethora of weapons, find the ones that are the ones you want, and then master them.
No, that's something that I found when I was playing at EA Play, is with the SDG. When I first started, I wasn't really that consistent with it, but by the end, because I learned the best way of firing it, I was picking up kills from like medium to long range, and it was such an experience. And you noticed everyone around the room trying different weapons were doing the exact same thing, and people gradually got better very quickly, which was fun to see. But movements also had a lot of changes to it, which I found really exciting as well. New movements have been added. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Absolutely, and again, like we said, we want to deliver the most immersive Battlefield yet, and we really overhauled the movement system.
Yeah.
Like BF1, you could break a window to jump out of it. Now, if a tank comes through the kind of the wall and you need to leg it, just jump straight out of it. Occasions where you end up on your back, you're still in control. Backpedaling, being able to still engage enemies and not be at a disadvantage is really about those moments.
I think control is the key essence, or the core here, that we want to enable the players. When you vault, you can still shoot, more deviation, but you're still in control. You can still shoot and fight back. On your back, you can now, crouch sprint, all of these things where we said kind of, what if, can we do it? Of course we could.
Yeah, so I've got one last question. It's about the respawn system, because that's something that I kind of found really cool to get into with your squad members, is that kind of new viewpoint that you've got before you spawn in. How's that going to work?
like you saw it.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, it's about promoting squad play.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that you're always aware about what your squad is up to, so you can jump in quickly. And with the new body revive system that we have, that everyone in the squad can revive each other. It's all about staying together, working together, and enjoying Battlefield 5 together.
Yeah.
And it's an important part. It's team play is Battlefield, so not only body revive. We have the ordinary medic, but then also you can even you kind of drag your bodies into safety before you revive them.
Yeah.
So everything we can do to enable the players to play together.
Okay, all right, Andreas, Lars, thank you very much.
Thank you.
But the show cannot be complete without a visit from Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox. He shook up the internet yesterday when he announced 5 new additions to the Microsoft Studios family, and then, dropped a casual bombshell or two at the end of the briefing. Tina Summerford is standing by with him, with the man himself.
Phil Spencer, so good to see you. Thank you for joining us on Inside Xbox.
Thank you, Tina.
I heard we got an A on the briefing. Congratulations.
Did you give us an A?
I know. Jeff Keighley did a poll. People voted. 70,000.
Oh, Keighley
yes,
said
see,
it.
we
Wow.
got an A. So listen, yesterday was a huge moment. Everybody said, I'm tuning in because I want everyone. We got to see first party. We've got to see exclusives.
Yeah.
You brought not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 new studios. Tell me about the studios that we're bringing on board.
Those are studios, we've had a long relationship with many of them. And the thing that was really great about this moment was we were able to invest in them in a way that's going to unlock their best creative potential.
Yeah.
You think about a team like Ninja Theory. I mean, I worked with Nina and Tamim back on the original Xbox, Kung Fu Chaos, Playground Games, the history we have with them with Forza Horizon and them wanting to go off and do new things with the second team and Undead and State of Decay, Compulsion, and then Daryl Gallagher, who we worked with back on at Crystal Dynamics when he was on Tomb Raider, and then he wanted to create a new studio, and we said, yeah, this would be a fun thing to do, and it's an investment we needed to make.
Yeah. So is this the beginning of that investment? Are we going to see more studios coming down the pipe?
I think we're always open to looking at expanding our first party. I don't think Matt Booty, who runs our first party, looked at E3 as the end of our journey here. I think it's something that will always keep our eyes open. Not all these deals happened at the same time. We were lucky enough to be able to keep some of the news quiet for a little while, which doesn't always happen, but it was nice that it did. So we could land the news here and the surprise, which is always a nice thing. But yeah, I think we know investments in first party, whether it's new things or growth on the existing franchise, is important. One of the things I loved was being able to open with Halo and just feel the reaction when Master Chief was there.
You felt the love.
You did,
yeah,
right?
You felt
and I think,
the love. Yeah.
I've seen some of the write-ups that felt a little more Halo 1-ish, like people could feel it getting back to its roots, and yet Bonnie and the team taking that franchise in some new directions. Rod at the end with Gears. I mean, it was Forza looked great in the middle. Ori looked awesome. I mean, the only big franchise that wasn't here was Minecraft for us. But it was great to see the investments in the existing franchises and adding the new studios.
I did feel like at one point it was like, you get a new studio, and you get a studio, and you get a studio. You did mention Daryl, but tell me a little bit about why Daryl? Like, what is his pedigree?
Yeah, Daryl, 20 years in the industry, been around a lot of different publishers. Recently was at Activision. When he left Activision, we started to have a discussion about what he wanted to do next. I think he really loved his time with Crystal Dynamics and working on Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, kind of reworking some of that franchise. We were talking about some things in our past that might be interesting, nothing to announce yet, but just some things that he might want to go work on. And we also don't have a studio down here. I mean, another thing when Matt and I were looking at these studios is I think it's great that we now have a studio in Montreal, like we have a studio down in Southern California, places where there's real talent that we can add, so we're not all up in the Northwest, trying to get all the same people, which will be really helpful. Added 2 new studios in the UK, but Daryl specifically is I want to create a new team. I love how Game Pass is evolving content and the impact that was Daryl and I talking about it. And he said, I've got some interesting ideas there. And I said, great, let's start something.
Well, you mentioned also Matt, so tell me, they're making an announcement to leave, but don't leave.
We're leaving. We're done.
We're switching showcases, so some of the fans, we have to, new onslaught of fans.
Awesome?
It does, it looks great. It's all beautiful. But you did mention Matt. So what has Matt's role been in all of this?
Well, Matt started at Microsoft Studios a number of years ago. He'd come from Midway, where it was long-term Midway. He's a very interesting background of fine arts major and very technical. Worked in the audio departments at Midway. When I hired him in, we didn't have a specific role for him. I was talking to him while Midway was closing. And one of the stories I've told before, it meant a lot to me, was he came to me and said, yeah, I need to think about what I'm going to do after Midway closes, but first and foremost, I want to make sure that the employees here are taken care of.
Yeah.
So he put himself second, put the team first. We waited months for that to finish up, and then he joined. Recently, he was running Minecraft for us. And had done an amazing job around culture. Like, even if I kind of don't think about the product, don't think about the business, the culture of the team with Mojang and what does it mean to bring in a team and continue to make the franchise work. So in January, made the decision that head of studios, put Matt in that position, knowing that we were going to expand, and his work around culture and teams was going to be critical.
Yeah, and so we did talk about the new studios. When will we hear what they're going to be working on?
Well, the nice thing is they're all kind of at different places. Like, if you think about Ninja Theory, Hellblade shipped a little while ago. So, Tamim and Nina, they've been working on some things, whereas like Undead Labs and Jeff, they just shipped.
Yeah.
Compulsion Guillaume, their shipping is coming up here in August, I think they announced, for We Happy Few, and then Ralph and the team at Playground ships in October. So I think the nice thing is when you start mixing that in with all the other studios that we have, you really start to get some diversity in things that we can talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about that.
Now, towards the end of the briefing, too, it wasn't just, okay, here's 50 games and we dropped that bomb, but you also talked about some of the future stuff. You talked about, yes, a new console.
Now, you realize when I said 50 games, it was only 49 because we had Cyberpunk coming right now. And every time I read that line, I was like, maybe I should say 49 right now.
But 50 sounds easy.
It sounds better. So I was like, 50-ish.
50-ish. There you go. There you go. I like it. But you did, at the end, you kind of dropped a couple of big news beats, too. You did talk about a new console. You talked about Microsoft AI coming to games, and you also talked about a streaming platform.
Yeah.
Why was it important at E3 to talk about so far down the road?
One of the things, and I've been in this games industry for a long time, and one of the things I really love about the games industry is how the industry is always at the forefront of technology innovation.
Yeah.
Whether it's AI, whether it's 3D rendering, whether it's physics. I mean, we've just always been we have a high appetite in gaming to try new things, VR, and bring them in and kind of experiment. And I think E3 is a nice stage to talk about that, not for the whole show. We work at a company that has amazing resources in Microsoft, and the work that Microsoft's doing in Azure AI with Azure Intelligent Edge, Intelligent Cloud, all of that work is something that I wanted to be able to talk about in streaming. But I also wanted our Xbox customers, our fans, to know that a great console, will be always critical to how I view our brand. And I thought we did a great job last year with the Xbox One X and launching that, world's most powerful console. So I just wanted to make sure that our fans heard from us. We know what our core is. We're a gaming group, not entertainment, we're a gaming group. Having the world's most powerful console is really important to us right now, and they know that the future is bright for us in the console space.
Well, I think the fans heard you yesterday, so congratulations to all of Team Xbox. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. All right, there's a lot to play on Xbox this year, including Fallout 76, a brand new online survival entry in the critically acclaimed franchise. We're going to chat with Pete Hines about the jump to multiplayer, but first, take a look.
Years after our great nation began, we gathered together to honor the completion of Vault 76. This sprawling underground shelter may have been engineered by Vault Tech, but it was built by you. So that if the bombs do come, our way of life will endure.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is all there, older than the trees. younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home.
For when the fighting is stopped and the fallout has settled, you must rebuild. Not just walls, not just buildings, but hearts and minds, and ultimately, America itself.
Country roads, take me home, country roads.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
The next Fallout experience is not a solitary journey through the wasteland, looting mailboxes and dumpster diving for those adhesives. This one is all about surviving with other people.
In fact, every person you're going to come across in Fallout 76 will be controlled by a real person. Here to explain it all is Pete Hines from Bethesda. Pete, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
We're doing great.
Pete, great to talk to you, man. I got to talk to you about the mic drop moment. Now, Fallout is going online. What does that mean? Todd talked about it last night, but can you give us some texture?
Here's the easiest way to think of it. It's like the Fallout games that you've played before,
right?
Except that you have the ability to play with other folks if you want to.
Okay.
You'll interact with other characters just like you normally would, except that they'll be people.
Okay.
So you might have gotten jumped by raiders before wandering through the wasteland, but those raiders would now be real people if real people want to do that. Or they might want to trade with you, or who knows. But it's all about creating that same kind of world with story and lore and quests and leveling up and all of that same stuff. It's still those same things that are core to Fallout, but now the people are real. And so it adds a little bit of tension and drama where the role-playing is more emergent. It's like the old school when we were growing up playing Dungeons and Dragons, right? A game's not about like, here's your dialogue for today for you to read off. It's about, I'm going to put you in situations and how are you going to handle it? And then how am I going to respond and how are you going to respond to that? It's more like that.
Which is something you can't, it's unscripted.
Yeah.
And anything. Now, does that mean, can I be a robot in the robot parade? My favorite part of Fallout 4 was the robot parade, by the way.
You're going to be a person,
Okay.
but it's all about you being who you want.
Right.
And so the whole idea of who are the heroes and villains, like that's going to come from how you choose to play the game. But you can still play Fallout like a Fallout game. I mean, it is online, but that doesn't mean you have to join up with other people.
Right.
You can play the way that you want in this world.
So I'm curious, and I know you kind of just touched on it in a sec, but talking about the contention between people, heroes versus villains. Actually, Todd had a quote in there talking about some people will be the heroes, some will be the villains. Does that mean I can truly just be evil throughout the entire thing if I so choose?
Yes, but not without consequences, obviously, and not to the extent we spend a lot of time working on the systems that are going to determine how all of that works. Think of the PvP more as issuing a challenge. And then you as the player can decide what to do if you've been challenged. So it's not just non-stop like everybody kill everybody that you see. It's more like I see somebody and I can decide to be nice. I can welcome them. I can ask them if they want to join my party and do quests. I can ask them if they want to trade, or I can decide to take them out. But we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail. A lot of this stuff is still in progress, but it's not just straight up everybody murder everybody PvP. It is post-apocalyptic and everybody kind of figure out who do you want to be in this world.
Now in Fallout, we all have a love-hate relationship with the nuke.
Yeah.
Now, in this game, can I drop a nuke on my neighbors? And what happens to their loot and how does that work? And
Sure. So yes, you can nuke an area. You can't target individuals. First of all, it's important to note.
Yeah.
The nukes are not just put two caps into a vending machine and out comes a nuke and everybody's just firing them off left and right. They're not easy to get to.
Right.
It takes a lot of work to get to them. It then takes a lot of work to get the codes and go to the place to launch them.
I see.
So it's not like you launch a nuke, like everybody's just shooting nukes all the time.
For some people, that's going to be their main quest.
Sure, but they're more epic moments, right? When they happen. And when they happen, you're really just targeting a part of the map that you want to target. And if somebody's there, Yeah, they're going to get hit by the
They're gonna
nuke.
get roasted.
But Todd's point was important to note, which is this is a game where you are not getting punished by dying. That
Right.
we don't want it for you to be losing progression or to be, just blowing away everything that you've done. So I think he'll be getting more into explaining how does all of that work, what does it mean. But the idea of you can build anywhere, but you can also then take it and move anywhere is an important part of that you're not literally deconstructing every building and reconstructing, that there's game systems that allow you to say, now I want all that stuff that I built to be in this part of the world instead. But when the nukes go off, those are high level areas. So you're incented to do that because you're turning them into a high level area where there's, tougher creatures, but better loot and some of the more rare stuff you can get.
Right. So now, Fallout was obviously absolutely a huge announcement and something that you guys have been working on, but yesterday was jam-packed with more, too.
We had a lot, yeah.
I mean, take us through some of what was talked about.
Well, we announced DLC for Prey and a big new update that's out right now that includes, a couple of new modes for free. It includes the new Mooncrash DLC, which is like a roguelike thing where you play through, and every time you play through, the levels and creatures and everything are going to be different. We announced Doom Eternal, the follow-up to Doom 2016. Which we're going to be revealing at QuakeCon this year, both for folks who are there, as well as this time around we're going to stream it live around the world. So everybody, hopefully including you guys, can see what the guys are up with the new Doom. But bigger, badder, crazier, twice as many demons. That game is awesome already. We announced a new Wolfenstein game that's based on BJ's twin daughters, who Anya's pregnant with, spoiler alert, in the new Colossus. We move forward in 18 years where his daughters are grown up and you get to play as one of his daughters, and you can play it solo, but you could also have a friend play the other daughter and the two of you play together. We announced that we're bringing Elder Scrolls Legends to Xbox One.
That was the best 2 minutes.
We announced the next two BGS titles after Fallout 76 and a brand new IP in Starfield, and then eventually we are going to get to TES 6. So.
And don't forget, Todd stood on stage and said, hey, Fallout 4 now in Game Pass.
Yes, and you can play it now for free as part of Game Pass. So, we had so much stuff. Did I get everything?
I don't think we should have gone what you didn't announce, because that list would be way shorter.
Way easier.
So, we announced just about everything that we could possibly think of. And some of it, again, is coming this year, but we, in some cases, want to give a longer-term view of where we as a publisher go and what our studios are up to.
Right on, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes. All right, coming up, we've got the new Sea of Thieves update, Devil May Cry 5, and The Division 2 still on the way.
But first, some big news about a game that's currently in early access. Astroneer is about to get a significant update, and we'll let the trailer do the talking.
Joe and Riley from System Era are here. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Excited.
So, first things first, release date.
Yes.
We've got it. Can you tell us what's happening?
We finally got it. We're really excited to talk about, the date that we have set for launching Astroneer into 1.0. We've been in game preview and early access for a little over 2 years, so we are going to be launching right around that 2-year anniversary, which is really exciting for us.
So obviously with launch date, we're going to get hopefully lots of brand new content and features. What can people expect from day one?
Yeah, so on day one of the things that you might have seen in the trailer is that structure. We're really excited to do a lot of things. Expand on player numbers and multiplayer, having new planets with our new technology for terrain, which we'll probably talk about, but also expanding on the Ashnir universe and expanding on what the Ashnirs are doing there, what is their reason for being there, and then like creating some goals around that too.
Yeah. And once we're done with 1.0 and released on that, we're not actually stopping there. We're going to be continually updating, and we're really excited about supporting our millions of fans with features that we've already kind of laid out on our roadmap, such as like creatures, farming, water, automation. We're super excited to share with people that later on in the year.
So you spoke a little bit about directed goals. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we're in early access and game preview, which means the game is in active development. And part of getting to 1.0 is delivering all the things that we have on our roadmap, but then it's exploring those things later on. And one of the major features that we're really excited about are these sorts of high-level goals. We get feedback from our community because the game is live, and they love things like base building. They love things like crafting things. They love deforming the terrain. But a lot of people ask for sort of goals, sort of high-level goals. The game is more of a sandbox now, so we're really excited to give people things to sort of strive for, expanding on all of these things that you know and love. Yeah.
We're absolutely enhancing the features people love and then kind of challenge them with a new kind of way to play the game.
Yeah, we're excited.
So also, we're watching it just now. You're making some changes to modifying the world with Terrain 2.0. Can we hear a little bit more about what that's all about?
We're really excited about that.
Yeah, so Terrain 2.0 is, we created this awesome technology which allows you to infinitely deform your planet. So the planet's spherical, you can run around the entire thing, you can dig to the center of the Earth, you can create structures. We get players who make superstructures that are from real life. We get people, we have a community member right now who's making courses and racetracks within our game, so you can do whatever you'd like. Terrain 2.0 is going to allow us to expand on that. So we mentioned player numbers and increasing those, but also just making more diverse and new planets that like people can explore and are excited to continue to explore.
If you think the game looks great now, we can't wait to what you see with Terrain 2.0. It's going to be beautiful and gorgeous. So.
Yeah.
What's the coolest thing you've seen been put together?
Ooh, I mean, actually, so for me, just from the technical perspective, because our planets are so large, we're just getting to be able to push out sort of the visibility and just like all the things we can put on screen at once. Which
bigger vistas, like more things on screen. Yeah, the performance is so much greater now.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that.
So in terms of people that are watching this thinking, what am I looking at? Just break it down for newbies. What is Ashnir?
Okay, so Ashnir is a space survival sandbox game right now where you sort of land on a planet and you're tasked with exploring and also eventually learning more about why you're there. And yeah, it's a 4-player co-op game, and it's a game preview game, but also a player anywhere title, so you're on Windows 10 and Xbox, and those players can cross-play, which is really
cool. Survival mechanics, base building mechanics. You can deform the terrain to however you need it to shape your needs. So build a bridge across the canyon or dig a hole into the center of the planet to dig up some ore to make some things out of.
We see sort of like two styles of players. We see people who just want to craft things, want to create things with their friends, but then we see people who use our terrain that's really malleable and make whatever they want. Super structures, super fun. We saw a sculpture of like a humongous dinosaur in the game that someone painted, so we get to do awesome stuff like that too.
That's really cool because obviously I know about the survival, but it sounds like there's a massive creative element about it as well, so people can just get lost doing their own thing.
Which we are so also mentioning this earlier. I should have mentioned this earlier. We're super excited to expand on that as we get closer to 1.0. We know there's a huge contingent of players that love being really creative in Ashnir. So.
And you guys, have you got anything else to say, to tell us about whilst we're here?
Yeah, so it's not in the trailer, but we've been out for a while, and I mentioned game preview, how we have Xbox players and Windows 10 players playing together. And one of our goals as a company is getting people to play together and cooperate. And so one of the natural next steps to that is letting all of the players who own the game play together. So with our launch of dedicated servers, which we've been talking a little bit about, that's going to enable everyone who owns Ashnir to play together if they're on a dedicated server, which is really fun.
Yeah, and a sneak peek of that in the trailer right now.
Oh yeah.
We saw actually a few more than 4 of our players. That usually is the limit of the game. So there's a few more than 4 players in the trailer at a time. So we're excited to get a lot of people in one world and really playing together.
Yeah.
On dedicated servers across Steam and Xbox.
Oh, that's super exciting. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I can't wait to play more. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So earlier today, there was a big Xbox announcement. We've officially opened pre-orders for the Xbox Adaptive Controller, which is a fantastic way for players with limited mobility to experience more games. It's shipping in September, and you can order yours at xbox.com or the Microsoft Store. For more details, check out news.xbox.com. Now, Capcom came by the Xbox stage yesterday to show off the long-awaited, long-requested, and totally nuts Devil May Cry 5. Nero, the hero of DMC4, is back after 10 years, and we just had to sit down with the game's director to find out what took so long.
デビルメイクライ4の一応僕らとしては数年後のお話で
This is a direct sequel to DMC4. It takes place several years after DMC4, and Nero has been gifted the neon Devil May Cry sign from Dante, which is actually a detail that's not mentioned in the game, but in a novelization. So Nero uses it to set up his own mobile demon hunting agency, and that's how our story begins. You'll find that there's a lot of new stuff, but what we can talk about right now specifically is Nero's new weaponized robotic arms, which he uses for hunting demons, that we call Devil Breakers. You'll be able to catch a couple hints as to what they'll be capable of if you pay careful attention to the gameplay in the trailer, but you can look forward to hearing more details in Gamescom.
10年ぶりの新作というところで
It's been 10 years since DMC4, so my boss came to me and said that in order to keep it relevant for today, we'll need to make something that you can take one glance at and know that it's quality. So we chose to make it with a photorealistic graphics style. We found, though, that without the proper care, photorealism combined with gaming animation can lead to what I refer to as an uncanny valley of action. So we put a lot of effort in to ensure that the game would still play with that tight Capcom play control, but still feel at home with realistic graphics. We'd love for fans to pay careful attention to how that feels. After making DMC4, we plan on going right into making the special edition, but that fell through at the time. We eventually did follow through with that 3 years ago, however, and at that point, lots of the dev members wanted to try their hand at making a new one. So that's what I'm most excited about, that we get to make the game that we've wanted to make for 10 years.
What みんなが期待している以上のゲームになっていると自信を持って言えます。ぜひ期待してください。ゲームズコンで遊べます。よろしくお願いします。
Do you realize the tragedy you have unleashed?
I know that it's not practical. I know that it's hard to believe. You need to trust me.
Tom Clancy's The Division 2 is calling all agents back for a new mission, save Washington, D.C., which has totally collapsed into chaos. But here to tell us more about the game is Julian from Massive. Thank you very much for joining us. And I know we've got a very exciting announcement as well, the Shields program.
The Shields program, something a little bit special, because as you know, The Division, the first game, is already live on Game Pass. So within the first game, the Shield program will reward players, new players and committed players, for in-game achievements. And these shields will be, we start off with 4, and it goes up to 12. And each one of those shields will reward people with a little something. Like currency, a little collectible, some narrative content, that type of thing. And even better than that, if you own lots of shields, you'll unlock unique elements in the Division 2.
So if anyone's got Game Pass, you can go download Division now, go on those shields, so you've got a nice little thing for Division 2.
The shields start June 14th. So you got a couple of days, but again, they're retroactive, so don't worry. You know, you can start playing now and then get all of the shield content.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Everyone should get involved with that. But I'm pretty excited about Division 2 itself, because we've got it actually on the show floor here over there, which I've been enviously looking at everyone playing all day today. I've just been like kind of waiting to get over it. Can you tell us a little bit about the game? What can players expect? Because we've got specializations, obviously.
So one of the things, I just came off the stage at UB, and one of the things that we talked about there were specializations. Specializations unlock when you finish the main campaign. You can play either solo or a cooperative story-based campaign. You finish that, you're rewarded with a choice of specialization. Now, a specialization is a progression path, and it starts off with a signature weapon. That signature weapon, the 3 that we've revealed are crossbow.
The explosive bolts.
Yes. Grenade launcher. And 50 cal sniper rifle.
That's a hard choice.
It's a hard choice.
Like 50 cal.
50 cal is my choice. But it's only the beginning. The specialization is a whole progression tree that unlocks special things for your character, including exclusive skill mods. So it's really something quite special.
So talking about skill mods, actually, because you see a few in the trailer as well, is like the drone. What kind of other skills are players going to have?
So the drone is brand new. We've got a bunch of classics from the first game too. The Seeker Mine, you may have seen it roll in the
on the floor.
We've got a Chem Cloud, which is explosive. You saw that also. And another great one is the Hive. The Hive, it looks like a big grapefruit on a handle. You toss that, it'll target an enemy and an enemy's weak points automatically. So, bam!
See, this is the thing I want to talk about. There's a lot more weak points in this game, because before you would either like target the head for as much as you can or other areas. What kind of other weak points are players going to expect to come against?
So this is part of our effort to really bring more intuition and reactivity to shooting and combat. So not only have we reduced kill times for you, but also for the enemy, so they're more lethal too. But they also have better reactions, better animations, and weak points, which rewards precision shooting. And we try and highlight that in the gameplay walkthrough too.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about the setting, because Division was originally set in Manhattan itself. This one is actually trying to get ahead of like it breaking down and having the tribes kind of take control of the region. So what kind of story can players expect in the Division 2?
So we're not going into detail about the story, but you know, I'm going to ask you one question.
Okay.
In the most fortified city in America, maybe the world, how can you explain that it was lost?
This is the thing, because you see at the end of that trailer, all right, it's when they're all sprinting together, all right, are you guys ready? All right, yeah, let's go. And then it ends on that really epic moment. I was just there going like, this is going to be amazing to play. You also, because you said you just came from the Ubisoft conference, you mentioned raids. Can you tell us anything about raids? Because that was the first thing I heard, and I was just like, all right, I need to know more.
So the whole of the Division 2 was shaped by our experience on the Division 1. 2 years of post-launch, really listening to our community, really listening to our players and how they played the game. And we entered Division 2 with an endgame first philosophy. What that meant was establishing this whole buffet of different activities and missions, and different types of things for you to play. Not necessarily hardcore, but raids, absolutely the pinnacle of the most hardcore experience. 8 players will launch soon after we release the game.
Yep.
Because you need a little bit of time to prepare for it.
Of course, you've got to gear up, you've got to do the whole progression.
And it's one activity, I think, and this is my challenge to the community, you won't be able to finish it alone.
No, you've actually also mentioned community, okay?
Yeah.
How has community affected Division 2?
A huge amount. I mean, we listen to our community,
Yeah.
we work with our community. We have the best community team, I think, in the whole industry. You know, the guys working at Massive and in the other studios, phenomenal. So we've created that relationship, and that relationship is incredibly precious because it helps us bounce ideas off.
Yeah,
people who play the game, who are passionate about the game. I met a guy yesterday, 4,000 hours on PC, 4,000 hours on Xbox.
You've got 8,000 combined hours.
8,000 combined hours. I don't have that. You know, that's a job.
That's every detail of the game. Now, he must know every little inch of Manhattan.
It's scary. He may have seen all of the mistakes that we forgot and things like that.
I would not want to come up against him in a multiplayer game, that is for sure. I'd just be like, please don't kill me. That's
so,
definitely.
Community, incredibly important.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Julian. I'm really excited for Division 2. Straight after this, I'm going to go over there and play. But don't forget, the Division is available right now on Game Pass. Perfect timing to get up to speed before the Division 2 launches in March 2019. So you can go and take advantage of that, take advantage of the new... Oh, God. Now, the next update coming to the Sea of Thieves was teased during Xbox briefing, and it seemed to hint at the fact that maybe you weren't so safe from otherworldly threats on your ship. Graham is standing by with Mike Chapman from Rare to plumb the depths of Sea of Thieves' upcoming adventures.
Thank you, Benny. Joining me now is Mike from Rare. How are you, mate?
Very well. What a show. What a show.
It was amazing yesterday, wasn't it? And one of my favourite parts of the show yesterday was the Sea of Thieves trailer.
Yeah.
So much good stuff to unpick in there. But
Indeed.
The one I want to ask you about first of all is, are we really going to be attacked by rogue AI skeleton ships?
Yes, you are. So a new threat coming to the Sea of Thieves world. So you're out there on your adventures, and now you'll be coming across galleons crewed by skeletons.
Nice.
So imagine all that gameplay that we had in the Hungering Deep of crews working together to take down this threat. Now you're going to have that awesome pirate fantasy moment of firing a broadside, but now you're attacking these skeleton ships, boarding them, fighting skeletons on the deck, maybe sneaky downstairs with a sneaky gunpowder keg and blowing them up from the inside.
Nice, yeah.
All of those strategies, so much richer now with the skeleton ships.
It must have been amazing for you and the team to see the way that people are coming together to play Sea of Thieves. Is this going to be another way for pirates to band together and take on this new adversary?
Yeah, I think that social heart of Sea of Thieves has always been important to us. Like ways that, like a new take on multiplayer where we bring in players together in new and interesting ways. You'll see us keep doing that and hopefully keep surprising players as well with what we do.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, when I think of the game, it's like a collection of amazing toys in this wonderful world.
Yes.
And you're letting the players do what they want with them, right? Like, if we talk about, like, Cursed Sails,
Yeah.
what kind of new toys are you giving to players?
Yeah, so another element we're bringing in addition to the ships is this cursed cannonballs.
Okay.
Not cannibals, not going to eat you.
Oh, God, they sound worse.
This fantastical take on the cannonball. So these magical cannonballs that bestow status effects on ships on players.
Right.
So you could find these out in the world. In terms of the lore, they're brought in with the skeleton ships. It's almost like this mystical threat that's come to the Sea of Thieves is carrying these cannonballs with them. And from that point, they can be found in the world. And they've got status effect like the ballast ball that makes ships heavier, pulls it down in the water to make the holes on the middle deck fill with water. Cannonballs that cut out voice communications, cannonballs that might make you play and it might make the other crew dance on board their ship, but these cool status effect that will add this whole new dimension to encounters between player ships. And when you find them in the world, you don't know what other players have, right? So it adds this extra layer of strategy to encounters. You can use them against skeleton ships, and of course you can use them against each other.
All right, amazing. Now, Forsaken Shores is a little bit further off. It's coming later this
September,
summer, right? What can you confirm for us now? Like, what details can you...
Yeah, so what I love about this is that players have been asking for, we want an expanded world. And Forsaken Shores is us giving that to players, but also making amazing strides with kind of the gameplay of the island. So this is kind of an area that's geologically unstable. You know, it's a land of fire and ash.
Okay.
So the scenarios we're talking about here is you going onto an island, you're there to do this epic voyage. You've stocked up your ship, you don't start there, but you're sailing into this perilous sea called Devil's Roar, which is this new world region we're adding with Forsaken Shores.
Excellent.
And the idea here is that it's geologically unstable, so you go on adventure, you feel a tremor in the ground, and then you look to the crater, you see a black plume of smoke, and you can have a volcanic eruption at any moment.
Wow.
And that will spew out kind of hot rocks that can land down on players, land and damage the ship. And with that, we're bringing in the rowboat. the pirate fantasy. So the rowboat, you could anchor your ship away from the islands and row yourself in. Nice. It's a great example of us bringing tools into the world that you can then enrich the entire game. So now if you're a solo player, you can take the rowboat ashore, put all your chests on board and row back to the ship in one go.
Excellent.
So we're celebrating it. Content like that as part of Forsaken Shores, but it's going to enrich the whole game.
Excellent.
But it's going to be great.
That's one of the things I loved about your trailer yesterday was you had kind of embedded all these little details into that trailer. I mean, it's supposed to be fun doing that with your community, right?
It is. I mean, there's so many things in that you could blink if you miss it kind of moment. So before Forsaken Shores with Cursed Sails, we're also bringing in the Brigantine, which is another kind of ship type that players have been asking for.
Right.
So this is a ship tailor-made, designed from the ground up for 3 players. So people who want that kind of big ship experience, but they've got a smaller group of friends.
Yeah.
This is a 2-mast ship. Feels like a big ship, but you can have this awesome ship that's tailor-made for you.
Okay, so we've got Cursed Sails and Forsaken Shores coming later this summer.
So Cursed Sails is July, we've got Forsaken Shores in September, and then the Hungry and Deep team, who've just finished with that update, they're already on what's coming after Forsaken Shores. And we're doing another 2 content updates beyond that, and more next year.
Mate, you lot are busy.
We are busy, and then we're doing weekly events in between.
Totally.
So it's this constant kind of rhythm of content that we're adding to the game.
And tell us about campaigns as well. What's your approach to that down the line? Because that's happening as well, right?
Absolutely. So players have seen the start of this with the Hungry and Deep when, our approach is not just about adding mechanic X, mechanic Y, adding some patch notes. It's about celebrating the content as part of a story. So players saw that with Merrick in the Hungry and Deep, where we've wrapped this kind of quest line around it. Gives players a tour of the content, allows us to showcase what's great about the speaking trumpet, show it off in a cool context. Players will see that again in Cursed Sails. There'll be a reason that skeleton ships have entered the world. There'll be a cool little quest type to be introduced to the Cursed Cannonballs, and the same with Forsaken Shores. That's the Sea of Thieves approach of adding content to the world, not just throwing it in there. It's about celebrating and showcasing it as part of these unique quests.
Amazing, Mike. Always good to see you, and amazing to see the whole Rare team out here. I live out here now, so it's nice for when you come out here and we can hang out together at E3. Awesome. Thank you so much, and have a great E3, mate.
Thank you very much.
So Sea of Thieves is one of the many great games that you can download right now if you're a subscriber to Xbox Game Pass, and the lineup just got bigger this week. Let's send over to Jeff for more.
Thank you so much, Graham. That's right. This week was full of great news about Xbox Game Pass. In fact, it was just announced that Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls Online, Tamriel Unlimited, and Tom Clancy's The Division are all available to play right now. And of course, all future Microsoft Studios games will launch day and date directly into Game Pass, including Forza Horizon 4, Crackdown 3, Gears 5, and the team even confirmed yesterday that the Master Chief Collection will be arriving in the future as well. And more. Also on the way, Warhammer Vermintide 2, Phoenix Point, Ashen, and Afterparty right on their launch day, coming in 2018 and beyond. And if you sign up today, your first month of Xbox Game Pass only costs $1. $1 to play Fallout 4. I mean, come on, it's worth significantly more than that. And in fact, joining me to talk about that and about Xbox Game Pass are 3 people that have firsthand experience with the service. We've got Craig from Rare. It's always good to see you, Craig. You've got your California going on here.
It.
Pete from Bethesda. Very nice meeting you. And Andy from Free Jam Games. You might know from Robocraft Infinity. In fact, you launched Robocraft Infinity directly in the Game Pass. So it's just about 2 months ago today.
It was April time. I think we were the first indie to launch into Game Pass. We followed like the Sea of Thieves guys, obviously their first party studio, but it was fascinating time for us.
How did that work out? Yeah.
So we worked on Robocraft Infinity for about 2 years. It was an effort of about 20 guys within the studio. And what was really interesting is that we didn't really consider Game Pass as an option for us until you guys reached out to us a few months before launch. We were a massive fan of the initiative, mainly because it's such good value for gamers. And it's worked really well. During the first 6 weeks of launch, we had around about 240,000 people play the game. We've got a steady stream of people coming in all the time, which is really good. And obviously for a game that's powered by UGC, it's particularly interesting because you never know what you're really going to face on the battlefield.
That's really cool. And so there was the UGC element, there's also concurrent players as well.
Yeah, there are concurrent players. So whenever you launch a multiplayer title, your primary worry as a studio is always liquidity. It's always like, right, okay, server's alive, day one. We really hope we get enough people in. And we did. We did primarily because of Xbox Game Pass. We constantly see in reviews people saying to us, hey, I might not have given this game a shot, but I'm a Game Pass player. I gave it a shot. I love your game. It's fantastic. It's really good feedback to hear. And it means for us as a studio, we know we're going to get a steady stream of players. So we feel confident that we continue to add new content to the game. We've got our next update coming out in the next couple of weeks, the Big Boom update, which is really cool, adds a new weapon, changes or improves a lot of quality of life things in the game. So yeah, it's a vibrant place to be at the moment, our place.
And a lot of updates also coming now to Sea of Thieves. We were just talking about them. And you launched directly, and it was a pretty big announcement. I think it was in January when we announced all Microsoft games, first-party games are coming directly into Game Pass, and you guys were first.
Yeah, and I think Rare's always had a history of firsts and doing things and going where other teams maybe haven't gone before. So I think when we first spoke to the Game Pass team, and again, echoing what Andy said, I think as a gamer, just the passion to have great games available to as many people as possible. I think we all share the kind of the vision and belief of that. But for us, for Sea of Thieves, we had great momentum running up to launch, and actually it was almost a forced multiplier. It's funny, the good side of having more players, like a lot of the conversations we were having with our services engineers and devs was like, how many more players are we going to get? And we had a ton of people buy the game, then we had a ton of people come in through Game Pass, and then we had a ton of people that wanted to play Sea of Thieves, so they used the trials, and then they converted from the trials into Game Pass. So for us, it was just like the more people playing Sea of Thieves as a creator, like the better for us, the better for our game.
And that's the type of game that benefits from having more players, more crazy encounters.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell a super quick story. So I came home one day and my son was playing Sea of Thieves, which is good.
As he should, yeah.
Well, and it stopped him playing Fortnite for a second, which was also good. And he says to me, I'm like, who are you playing with? Thinking he just match made. And he said, oh, I'm playing with some of the guys in the football team, in the soccer team. And I went, oh, they've all got Sea of Thieves. He goes, yeah, Dad, two of them downloaded Game Pass trials, so they didn't pay anything, but we're all playing together. And one of the others has got Game Pass.
Right.
So basically, my 15-year-old son is pitching me Game Pass. So him and his mates can all play together. I'm like, yeah, dude, I know how Game Pass works. It's fine. But what I loved about it was just him and his friends just using that. Like, hey, we want to play together, and our game is actually, it's a cooperative game. We want people to play together, and Game Pass is just another route that will continue to have players coming in. So, if someone subscribes to Game Pass now and they've never looked at Sea of Thieves, like that's a game in the library that they can go into. If that's at Christmas time or next year, it's not just about when you launch. It's about all the players that come in, as people keep subscribing to Game Pass.
Exactly. And one of the biggest pops we had yesterday during the Xbox briefing right here in this very stage was when Bethesda came out, and Todd was mentioning that Fallout 4 right now in Game Pass, and also Elder Scrolls Online, Tamriel Unlimited.
Yep.
What about Game Pass was attractive to Bethesda?
Well, I mean, it's a couple of things. One of the things we've done with you guys over the years is offer these sort of limited time, hey, this weekend, go on Xbox Live and you can download Elder Scrolls Online for free. And like you've heard, it's a great opportunity to get folks to very easily sample something, try it. And we've seen great conversion where folks are like, oh, this is really good, or I had a lot of fun, like I want to keep playing this. But you also had to be around that weekend and doing it that weekend, and Game Pass is just another way to remove that barrier to say, now that it's in Game Pass, you don't have to worry about like, oh, am I going to be around that weekend? Do I have time? But basically, anytime with Game Pass, whether it's our game or their games or whatever, that you've got a suite of stuff that you can graze and sample and try something single player and try something you play with your friends. And I think games like Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 4 that have so much content, there's no race to try, oh, I got to do it just this weekend, or I just got to, try it this day, that it's there whenever you want. You can go to it and come back to it later and try some other stuff, and our games really lend themselves to that. And again, we do mods like crazy on Xbox, and all the stuff that, there are literally hundreds of thousands at this point that you can download and try. It's a great way to pick at stuff and see what you like and what you don't like, or just play the base game as it is.
So all three of you have games that are really very dependent on a continuous influx of players coming in. So what are you excited about, like where you can take your games, knowing that by being part of Xbox Game Pass, people are going to keep playing?
Yeah, I think it's definitely more players, because you're attracting an audience that's growing, which is awesome. But I think what it just raises the tide. It's more people when your friends.
Very good. You speak entirely in nautical analogies.
It's been a few years of that.
He's had that queued up since like noon today, just waiting to drop that.
It's people on your friends list that are playing. It's more people streaming the game. It's just there's this notion of you've got this digital library that's there all the time, and as Pete said, like if you're in the mood to play something with your friends, you can go do that. But what we've seen is we've seen a ton more people playing Sea of Thieves and continuing to play Sea of Thieves, and I think that's, as any game maker, you want more people playing your games.
It's definitely an era of like virality to it as well. What we found fascinating is that, obviously Pete's next to me, who's got Fallout and he's got Elder Scrolls Online. You'll get lots of people coming to Game Pass for the big titles, and as like the only indie on the panel, like it's a fantastic mechanism for us to like put our game in front of new people, with a concepts that are a little bit more left field, and I think as an indie platform, it's got massive chops, and there's a lot of mileage in it as well. So for us, like we love that the big guys are coming in because we know that they bring thousands and thousands of people with them, and we know that we only really need like a few % of those to try our game, and they might like it, and then it allows things to kind of grow organically.
All right, so your homework assignment, Robocraft Infinity, Elder Scrolls Online. Oh my God! You know what? Let's give it a
Johnny on the spot with
this is the card you would see in a store.
In fact, it's a real card. Look, we're gonna scratch it on the back later, but I can't find a quarter big enough.
You need like a giant. You know what? Does this work? I hear embedding codes into. Oh my! It actually works. Except that there's nothing there.
All right, we'll have to do that later.
Larry, you're gonna have to tweet something out.
Oh no.
Yeah, we'll figure this out. You know what?
What's going on?
Some codes.
They said there was a code here. All right, back to the review.
Nice troll, Larry. All right, well, thanks so much, guys. Yes, download Robocraft Infinity, download Elder Scrolls Online, Tamriel Unlimited, and of course, Sea of Thieves. I'm sure you're already there, but get there. And in just a minute, we're going to reveal exclusive, brand new gameplay from Outer Wilds. This quirky, mysterious survival game includes handcrafted worlds that will encourage you to explore every nook and cranny, provided you can do it in 20 minutes. But first, here's a quick look at the latest from Square Enix.
I'm a runaway gunner and I'm staring down the barrel of decisions I don't want to make. I'm a runaway gunner and I'm staring down the barrel of decisions that I
Do you realize the tragedy you have unleashed?
I know that it's not practical. I know that it's hard to believe. You need to trust me.
You just saw the trailer for Outer Wilds, and Alex and Wesley from Mobius Digital are here to walk us through the game and reveal brand new gameplay. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. How are you both?
Doing great.
Good, excited to talk about some of this awesome looking game. So, to start with, it is this huge exploration space game, but it's entirely handcrafted. Why is that so important? Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, so the game at its core is a mystery. You're playing as essentially a space archaeologist, traveling around, finding clues from this ancient civilization that leads you to secret places, and it sort of unfolds. So it's really important, doing that procedurally would be very difficult.
Yeah.
So it's all stuff we've put out there for players to find. And on the art side of things.
Yeah, it was inspired heavily by national park posters, because the aesthetic is sort of backpacking meets NASA. So because of that, we wanted to create a lot of really interesting locations that house those clues so that as you're going, you can find interesting things everywhere.
Okay, so we've got some brand new footage to look at, and I'd love it if you guys could talk us through it, get us excited. So, for anyone who's watching this and being like, I don't know what this is. I need some, a little bit of why should they play this? What's going to draw them in?
Well, Outer Wilds. So the elevator pitch is it's an open world mystery where you explore solar system caught in a 20-minute time loop, which is the kicker. Every 20 minutes, no matter what, if you die, it happens sooner. But if you go 20 minutes, you go back in time and you wake up in the same moment at the campfire at the beginning of the game here. By the way, the space camping game is the aesthetic. You can roast marshmallows and go to the moon.
It's everything you'd ever want from life.
Right, exactly. That's what we think.
Okay.
And so one of the mysteries is sort of like, why are you in this time loop, right?
Yeah.
And figuring out what's going on and sort of like, why is all of this happening is a huge part of what you do.
Ooh, so there's like a mystery that can be solved?
Yes, and so...
Several mysteries, actually.
It's true, it's one of several mysteries.
Yeah.
And the big crux of it is everything you find as you're exploring the solar system, and it's just a solar system. There's, 6 planets, a few moons, space stations, a comet. And everything's changing very dramatically over time.
Yeah.
But everything you find out in the solar system, you remember, and so in your ship computer actually logs it. And so that's the thing that persists from loop to loop to loop. And so you are progressing, but it's all knowledge.
Okay, so talk us through a little bit more about this whole 20 minutes of exploration. Like, obviously, some people might be watching this thinking, well, I only have 20 minutes, and then I got to loop back again. Like,
yeah, it's exactly that. So it's really simple. You start out, once you know the launch codes, which is sort of the beginning tutorial area, every time you die, you remember them. So you can just hop directly into your ship and take off within a minute. And because it's a small miniature solar system, everything is very easy to just fly, somewhere new each time, or go back to a place that you've seen. Here we are lifting off, and we're in space.
Amazing.
Everything's physics driven. Like if we cut the thrusters now, we just get pulled back in by gravity. You can, careful, don't hit the moon.
Yeah, that's not usually it has a good ending if you do something like that.
And so it's very open. You can go anywhere you want, but anywhere you go, you're going to find something interesting. And at first, it's going to feel like, okay, like I found some ancient ruins. It talked about something maybe I didn't fully understand, but it gave me a clue that leads me somewhere else. Okay. And gradually, as you play, the threads start to connect.
So when you were thinking about getting this game, was it the hook? Was it the 20-minute hook, or did you have the idea for the setting and then thought, hey, let's make it a little bit more sort of unique? Like, how did that process happen?
It was a lot of things together. We really wanted to capture the spirit of real-world space exploration, as strange it is looking at a game with miniature planets. And, but just that sense of fragility and the feeling you get when you're out camping in the woods and you look up at the sky and you just start to think about the cosmos and you're roasting your marshmallow and just trying to really capture that feel. The time loop in a large part exists so that we can do crazy things. Like we have planets that fall apart over the course of 20 minutes, or these really large-scale natural systems that we get to press the reset button and go back, and so we can get away with things you wouldn't be able to normally.
Okay.
There's a lot of crazy ways to die in space in the game. And because it's in a time loop, it's more fun when you die, because it's like Groundhog Day where you run and throw yourself into something dangerous just to see what happens.
Yeah.
And each planet has unique dangers and things that you have to learn how to get past. So once you know how to get there, you can get there pretty fast. But it's a lot of just that knowledge gating and learning how to navigate the solar system, so you really feel like an explorer.
Mm-hmm. So we had a little bit of a dialogue moment there, and it seemed there were loads of different choices.
Yeah.
Can you go back and every day do something different and then go down a different pathway depending on what your choices are? Or?
So the way we do the time loop, there's a little bit of that, but it's actually a little different from games like Majora's Mask, where it's very much like learning the different character routines. There's not a whole lot of routines in this game. It's more about these large-scale physical systems, and a lot of the game is, so you're a Hearthian, this alien race, and the character we were talking to is also a Hearthian. And there's a few of them throughout the solar system, other travelers like yourself at their own little campsites you can talk to. But a lot of what you do is investigate the ruins left by this older, long-dead civilization called the Nomai. Okay. And you have a translator and you can decode their text. And that's where you find a lot of the clues. But while you're doing that, you have to deal with things like your ship getting sucked away by a massive sand column. As this is the Hourglass Twins we're seeing here. It's a binary planet system, and sand flows from one planet to the other over the course of 20 minutes. And there's the planet that gets broken apart. It gets bombarded by volcanic meteors from its moon, and it will physically fall apart as you're exploring it.
So I'm guessing you've got those 20 minutes and you're just like, all right, quickly, got to do what I've got to do. That looks incredible. Thank you so much for chatting us today. This has been lovely talking to you guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
So this E3 edition of Inside Xbox is almost over. But before we go, let's send it over to Graham, Jeff, Larry, and Ricari for a look at the week ahead and beyond. Take it away, guys.
We may be done here, but E3 is just getting started. Tomorrow, the show floor opens and we'll have live streams on Mixer all week long.
That's right. Head on over to mixer.com/Xbox and mixer.com/Mixer for more games, interviews, and everything E3.
And be sure to follow the Xbox Wire for all the latest news. News.xbox.com has you covered.
When E3 is over, we won't be away for long. There's a brand new episode of Inside Xbox coming your way in early July. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next month.
Bye-bye.
And turn to patter. We talk.
You think you wanna play now? You think you wanna play now? This is my playground.
Does that happen a lot? Want me getting shot at?
If you wanna play with fire, better know who's in the game. Heard you wanna dance on the wire. Show me how much you can take. This is my play.